Everyone, my name's Rebecca Kapoor. I have lived in North Brecksville for about 15 years. And the question I'm answering is, why do you feel a hybrid ward at-large system is better for Brecksville? And can you give specific examples? A hybrid ward at-large system provides each resident with their own ward council person. And a ward council person would be directly responsible for communicating with their ward residents and addressing ward concerns in their specific geographic area. Under the proposed system, which we have a hybrid system, 4 ward council persons, 3 at large, council retains the 3 at large to be involved with issues that affect the entire city. We have some specific examples of how current council has failed to address resident needs, but where we believe a ward council member would be more responsive and more accountable. Many residents supporting wards have their own stories, and these stories range from simply not knowing who to reach out to on council to having major issues and no one for whom they had an accountable council person. So recently, most recently, a discussion came up on Facebook about large groups of motorcycles and sports cars that regularly speed through the parks along local Brecksville roads, such as Riverview Road, and this is under Brecksville's jurisdiction. So residents living along these routes are very concerned with the noise and safety that are surrounding this activity, but there's been no action by the city to address this problem. A ward council person would be in communication with these residents, could work with the city and the park system to make sure that these concerns are addressed. And for more examples, I'm going to turn it over to Jenelton. Jen?
Thank you, Rebecca. As she mentioned, my name is Jenelton. I live on the northeast side of Brecksville in a development called A Stone's Throw. I have lived here for 13 years, but my family has long ties to Brecksville. My grandfather, he built a house here in 1958 in Cambridge Village. But another situation that came to our attention is related to sidewalks. And at a recent city council meeting, there was discussion by the Streets and Sidewalks Committee about how the service department was replacing sidewalks in the Emerald Woods subdivision, where one member of council currently lives, due to damage from trees in the tree lawn. Yet another subdivision, historically Echo Hills, has had several sections of broken sidewalk that resulted from a failing city culvert that the city refused to fix for them. For several years, Echo Hills residents were cited until the HOA finally decided they had just better replace it. At no time did any member of council or the mayor inform Echo Hills HOA that the city will replace sidewalks when the damage results from city responsibility. A ward council person would have been able to help in the situation, help save Echo Hills residents the costs and the effort of sidewalk repair. Another issue that we had was where City Council is continuously allowing developers to avoid putting sidewalks in new developments, or most recently around the new school at Oaks and Bar Roads, where one of my children will attend. Residents, including the families and children, often must walk in the street. And with that, I'll pass it off to Tony for another example.
Thanks, Jen. Hi, my name is Tony Spock, and I have lived on Deer Run in the south side of the town for 11 years. I was a trustee of my neighborhood HOA for 9 years and president for 2 of those. Another example was when a new development was proposed on Snowville Road. City Council put an issue on the ballot to allow the developer to rezone from a R20 to an R8 designation. This enabled the developer to squeeze in a lot more houses than the R20 designation would have allowed. Many residents were against this, but they had no designated voice on council and no council person to advocate on their behalf. Current council will say all rezoning is voted on citywide, but they also know that rezoning issues almost always pass. In fact, based on records from the Board of Elections, 33 of the last 44 times zoning issues have been on the ballot in Brecksville that have passed. You know the difference between R20 and R8? Most people don't. We rely on our representatives to know this and to look out for our best interests. The impact of this change just wasn't understood by most people. When all the trees were suddenly clear cut, a lot of us were really surprised and disappointed. And my final example has to do with flooding. We know this is a persistent problem for many of us in different parts of the city, but my personal experience has been with Vaughan Road and the flooding that closes the roads after heavy rains. This problem has been going on for many, many years. There have been countless calls and emails to City Hall, and to this day, it's still not fixed. This is despite the fact that the city is well aware of it and has even been given money that could have addressed some of these issues. These are all examples of problems affecting only a subset of our system, city. They are not citywide issues, and so the people they affect feel they have run up against a not my ward, not my problem mentality. So maybe if we had wards, someone would instead say, this is my ward and it is my problem.